Your skin can produce 12 times more collagen, as if you were 20 again. And you can do it at home without expensive procedures or devices. This is a scientifically proven fact. And today I'll show you the research that confirms this. I'll tell you about a simple 5-minute massage that might just become your main method of rejuvenation. The most surprising thing about this story is that the method was discovered completely by accident 100 years ago in military hospitals. Today, you'll get the full technique with all the details and learn about 3 critical mistakes that zero out all the results. Plus, you'll get a clear 8-week action plan for a guaranteed effect. To understand the power of this method, let's go back 100 years to the military hospitals of World War I. French dermatologist Leonard Jacquet treated soldiers with severe facial injuries. In unsanitary conditions, the wounds healed terribly. Massive scars formed, hard as stone. They grew into the muscles, tightening the skin, blocking movement and preventing soldiers from returning to normal life. Dr. Jacquet intuitively understood that the problem wasn't on the surface, but in deep tissue adhesion and lack of blood flow. He realized that to revive the tissue, he had to make it move and breathe again. Simple stroking was useless here. His method was radical. It consisted of deep, intense pinching. Under Jacquet's guidance, medical staff were instructed not simply to pinch the skin, but to grasp the entire thickness of scar tissue along with the underlying layers and vigorously knead, squeeze, and twist it. The goal wasn't relaxation, but therapeutic traumatization, forcing the frozen tissue to become alive again. After a few months, the scars softened. The method worked. And then the doctors noticed something amazing. Not only did the scar itself become softer and less noticeable, but the skin around it was also transformed. It became denser, firmer, and pinker, while shallow wrinkles smoothed out and the face tightened up. So Jacquet stumbled upon a rejuvenation method, and that's what we're going to try today. The method worked flawlessly, but for 100 years, no one knew why. Only modern science, with the help of microscopes and genetic tests, was able to look inside the cell. Let's look at 2 key studies that prove Jacquet was absolutely right. The first thing scientists proved: pinching or mechanical stimulation works as a direct command to your DNA to build collagen. In a study published in the journal Tissue Engineering in 2009, an experiment was conducted. Scientists took skin cells and placed them in a special device that simulated the effects of a massage, stretching them gently and rhythmically. Then they measured how actively the gene responsible for producing the youth protein, collagen, was activated. And the results were simply staggering. The activity of the gene that tells cells to build young, elastic collagen increased 12-fold. Think about that number. This means that we can make skin cells work just as effectively as they did at 20. By the way, you see that on the 14th day, the gene activity decreased. I'll explain why later and how to fix it. But those were cells in a lab. What about real women with real wrinkles? In 2017, a clinical study on women aged 65 to 75 was published in the prestigious scientific journal PLOS One. One group simply applied the cream, while the other used the same cream, but with a simple mechanical massage. Let's see what the scientists found. First, they looked under a microscope. On the left, skin without massage. On the right, after 8 weeks of stimulation. See how much brighter the green glow has become? These are newly synthesized youth proteins: procollagen, collagen, and elastin. The skin's framework is literally being rebuilt. Second, they looked in the mirror. Here are real photos of the participants. We see a clear reduction in wrinkle depth and a significant improvement in the contour of the face and neck. In summary, the century-old practice of Dr. Jacquet and modern scientific research say the same thing. Proper mechanical stimulation is a powerful, proven rejuvenation tool. It works at the genetic level, at the cellular level, and delivers visible results in the mirror. But the best test is practice. Let's do a quick 30-second experiment right now so you can feel for yourself how your skin wakes up. Do it along with me. Use your hands to pinch your face. Deep pinches like this. Grip and move across your face. One more time. Grip and move. Stop. There's a slight, pleasant redness, a feeling of warmth. A sense that blood has rushed to the skin. That's your skin waking up. You have just triggered that very cascade of reactions that scientists talk about. Here's what happened. There are cells in the skin called fibroblasts. These are tiny collagen-producing factories. With age, they become lazy and work at half strength. And every pinch is like an alarm clock for the fibroblasts. This signal makes them wake up and start working actively once again. Next, we'll do a full workout using an improved version of the Jacquet massage technique. But first, let's look at how to ensure this massage effect doesn't just last, but actually builds up. To do this, it's critically important to avoid 3 common mistakes. These mistakes can zero out all of your efforts. Mistake number 1. Working with oil or cream. Many people think that massage should be done with a rich cream for better glide. But for the pinching technique, this is a big mistake. We need a firm grip on the tissue. This is how we mechanically stimulate the cells. With oil, your fingers will just slip across the surface. You won't wake up those fibroblasts. So remember, the skin must be clean and dry. Mistake number 2. Doing it too softly. Many are afraid of hurting themselves and barely touch the skin. But remember what we discussed. If the stimulation is too soft, the fibroblasts will keep sleeping. The pinch should be noticeable. Not painful, but noticeable. You should feel that you're grabbing not just the skin, but something denser underneath it. Mistake number 3. Using the same technique. 90% of women make this mistake. They find one exercise that works, then do it for months and expect constant improvement. Let's take another look at the graph from the study. Look, on the 7th day of stimulation, collagen gene activity soared 12 times. That's an incredible surge. But look at the 14th day, the gene activity decreased. Yes, it's still much higher than at the start, but the peak has already passed. That's because the skin started to adapt to the same type of load. The cells no longer react to it as actively. The main takeaway from this is that the load needs to be constantly changed. You need a variety of techniques, a system, and not just one magic exercise. That's exactly why I created my private rejuvenation club. There, we don't just do the same thing. We build a smart and diverse training system. We work with the muscles, the fascia, the skull bones, and the body. We're constantly giving the skin new stimuli for rejuvenation. Now, I'll show you the correct technique for performing the Jacquet massage. And not the classic massage, but an enhanced rejuvenating version I developed based on his method. And so you don't lose this technique and can return to it later, like this video. What exactly does this massage do for your face? Deep pinching movements stimulate fibroblast cells to actively produce fresh collagen and elastin once again. The skin will become firmer and more elastic, and the facial contours will become more defined. We will strengthen the muscular facial framework. As a result, jowls will be lifted and shallow wrinkles will be smoothed out. The skin will detoxify, breakouts will decrease, and dullness and stubborn pigment spots will fade away. Your face will look fresh and radiant, but it requires precise technique, otherwise you could cause harm. We are going to follow 3 specific lines. First, we have the horizontal massage lines, which go like this. Then we move on to the vertical lines. To start, we place our fingers like this and do deep pinches at the corners of the mouth. There is a muscle here that lowers the corners of the mouth. And so, they captured not just tissue, but muscle. Hold it. Next point. We held on. The next one. So we're doing deep pinches, and we need to really pull the tissue away. That is, we separate the tissue directly from the bone. Next, we're going to grip the lips. Near the lips, we have these little nodes here. We grip those too. And we move up the cheeks, gripping the tissue. Don't hurt yourself, but the pinches should be deep. Now, from the wing of the nose, we also do pinches. Removing bags under the eyes and the tear troughs. Next, the vertical ones. Look, we've gripped that muscle again vertically under the corner of the mouth. We move upwards here. And we also do these deep pinches right down to the bone. Moving along the center, doing deep pinches. Now go along the edge near the ear and try to pinch off the tissue, separating it as deeply as you can from the bone. And then look, here we stop and go down with pinches and draw a snail like this. Also a snail with pinches. About 10 to 16 pinching movements. We stop near the corner of the mouth. Next, we do all the same movements, but with vibration. Grip the muscles here under the corners of the mouth. Vibrate. Move along the lower jaw with vibration. Grip the tissue really deep and vibrate. The lips. Near the corners of the lips. Moving up with vibration, deep and with vibration. Don't rush. And here we go straight from the bone, separating the tissue under the eyes and from the wing of the nose with vibration. Now vertically. Again, we grab the muscle under the corners of the lips. Vibrate. We rise with vibration to the bone. The middle line. With added vibration now. Separate right here, reach the bone and separate the tissues from the bone. Here we go vertically. Also, separate the tissues right from the bone. If something doesn't separate, stop at that spot, vibrate it thoroughly and separate. And right here, look, we're moving up to the temple. Right here on the temple, see? You did it. Well done. Next, we'll work on the eyes. We grab the eyebrow with the same pinching motion and go along the eyebrow with pinches. Go through with pinches first. Let's go. Now down. Same pinches along the bone. Now with vibration. Grab the eyebrow, vibrated it. We vibrate. The same pinches, but with vibration. Here along the bone, vibrate too. Now we're removing wrinkles near the corners of the eyes. Look, we grab these wrinkles like this and pinch them first. Pinch them. Pinch right across the wrinkle. Now with vibration. Grabbed and vibrated. Also separate the tissues right from the bone. Grabbed and vibrated. Next, we move to the forehead. First, just pinch the forehead. It might be a bit more challenging right here, but try to carefully separate the tissues as well using these folds. Try to separate the forehead tissues. Lower your head a bit so your neck doesn't strain. I'm holding it straight so you can see. And go across the whole forehead with vertical pinches. And now the same thing, but with vibration. Grabbed a fold, vibrated it. With vibration. On the forehead, tissues might not separate as well as on the face, but we try to do it so we don't have forehead wrinkles. So that drooping eyelids are lifted, and the area between the brows becomes smoother. And go across the whole forehead like this. The forehead smooths, eyelids lift, and wrinkles smooth out. And now we need to work on the wrinkles. On this delicate eyelid. Look, we grab with pinches. And roll it like this. Separate and roll. Separate the tissue and roll. Be gentle. Don't give yourself any bruises. Let's do another round. We're basically separating these pinches and rolling them. We're boosting blood flow to tighten the eyelids so they don't get saggy and to help those eyelid wrinkles fade away. Keep rolling. Well done. Make 2 or 3 circles from the inner corner of the eye to the outer corner and vice versa from the bottom. And now we're going to work on the neck. The skin on our neck is just as thin as it is around the eyelids, so we need to work on it delicately too. First, we're going to slowly do some pinches while following along these vertical lines. Go along vertically with pinches. Next, we'll do these pinches with a vibration. And now with rolling, so look. Like this. And go over the whole neck in vertical lines. Now we're working on horizontal wrinkles, rubbing them out like this. So we're following horizontal lines now, rubbing them out in this way. And look, if there are horizontal wrinkles, we carefully rub across the wrinkles. Rub out the whole neck in this manner. Finish this neck technique and then go through the whole massage once again. Perform this massage for 10 to 15 minutes every 2 or 3 days, allowing your skin to rest. Aim to do 10 to 14 sessions in the breaks between massages. Try out my other face workouts right here on the channel.